What's up, everybody? Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of Ranking the Epics. We started this about a month or so ago. We did a show all on the Doors epic songs. In case you missed it, go back and check it out here on the channel. It was a fun show. We've got a lot of bands who do, on occasion or fairly often, they do long songs. Right, we know in the history of rock music and pop music, right, long songs generally don't happen all that much, but some bands like to occasionally do that 7-8 minute long epic track, or in the case of some bands, like the band we're going to do today, songs that are 10 plus minutes long. In fact, this band, the band is Yes, of course, they have lots of epic songs. Now, with the Doors, we did songs that were over 7 minutes long because that was kind of like the cutoff point for them. But for a band like Yes, they have tons of songs that are like 7, 8, 9 minutes long. Then we would have had like 30 or so or more. So I decided what to do was take a look and see how many they had that were over 10 minutes long. And in fact, there are 17 of them. So we're going to do that. We're going to take all of Yes's epic songs, epic length songs that are 10 minutes plus. I've ranked them in the order of my preference. I urge everybody to do the same down in the comments below, right? So I'll give you the list here. We'll get started, and we will tackle other bands like this who have lengthy songs in their catalog. I think Genesis might be next. And again, we may tinker with the time frame. Like, will it be 10 minutes? Will it be 8 minutes, 7? That all depends. You have to kind of take a look and see how many they have of a certain length, and then we kind of figure it out from there. So let's start here at number 17. This is across their entire discography. All the songs from Yes that are over 17 minutes long. And we're going to start with, I might stack here in the wrong order. We're going to go with Mirror to the Sky, which is the title track to their most recent album. And this is, I didn't write down the links to all these, 1353. So Yes, in more recent years have done less epic tracks, but when they do, most fans get excited because it, reminds them of all the great epics they used to do back in the day, right? Because they kind of got away from that a little bit. This is a interesting blend of kind of jangly guitar, then you got acoustic guitar. So Steve Howe, this album is like a Steve Howe album. Nice bass tones from Billy Sherwood. Drums are good. Howe mixes in a little bit of aggressive guitar tones. Jeff Downes is a little laid back, and John Davison is fine on this too. This album and this song is pretty much the Steve Howe show, but he's got some good guitar stuff going on here. I think it's a solid attempt at another epic composition from them, and perhaps my favorite song, or one of my favorite songs from the most recent album, Mirror to the Sky. So Mirror to the Sky comes in at number 17. Number 16, I'm going to go to the Magnification album, to the In the Presence of. Right, so this is the album that came out, back in, what year was this? 2001. This is basically Yes with an orchestra. No real keyboard presence on this album, so in place of keyboards, they got the orchestra. This particular song, perhaps a little too much of the orchestra, a little too orchestral for my taste. And it's kind of mellow, kind of floating, but damn, Steve Howe is really good on this one. To me, he is the star of the show, and some really, really tasty guitar patterns on here. Like I said, he's the master of doing all sorts of different styles, both acoustic and electric, and I think he's really, really good on this. Overall, the song to me isn't great, but I think he is really great on it. So In the Presence of, number 16. Number 15, I'm going to go to the title track from Fly From Here, another one of their later ones. This is pretty lengthy. Takes like how many? 7 parts to it? No, 6 parts to it. This is from their album of the same name, like I mentioned, from 2011. Here we've got Benoit David, his one and only vocal appearance on a Yes album. He sounds great on this. I always thought he had a really good voice. I thought he was a great fit for this band. Kind of got the shaft from them. Another one of those instances where, there were certain reasons why a guy may or may not have been working out, and kind of like they just kind of dismissed him. And, he was probably left wondering, what the hell, guys, just when things were going good. I don't really care much for this album, but I think the title track is pretty damn good. Great backing vocals. Keyboards are really nice. Chris Squire's bass is nice and thick in the mix, and I think Howe throws in, Great acoustic guitar, great electric. He's got pedal steel on here as well. Really nice track. One of their really good epics. Fly From Here, number 15. Number 14, I'm going to go back to the Magnification album for Dreamtime. So here, I think the orchestra is used to perfection on this. Because, again, it pops in everywhere you expect, like keyboards or synthesizers. I think John Anderson sounds really good on this. Lovely guitar work from Mr. Howe, and Squire's bass is outstanding on this track. Really, really good. Like I said, I don't go back to this album all that much. Me and like rock bands and orchestra, but I think there's some good stuff on here. I think it's probably, in the eyes of a lot of Yes fans, it's probably a little underrated, and maybe underrated by me as well. It's probably something that I should go revisit more often, but I really haven't in quite a long time. But Dreamtime, definitely a good track. I like it. Number 13, I'm going to go to Tales from Topographic Oceans. Now, many of you know that I'm not the biggest fan of this album. I do like lots of parts of it a lot. I think as a whole, it's a little bloated and long, and there's great ideas here. It all doesn't work for me from track to track. Of course, you got 4 epic tracks on here, so we're going to feature everything that's on here in this list. I'm going to go with the Remembering on here, which is kind of like the second part of the longer tracks. It's good. It's a little meandering. It's a little unfocused at times, but there's certainly some quality music on it, right? For me, like I said before, we did a whole episode on the prog scene about this album. I think if you take like some of the greatest moments from all of the long epic tracks on here, you've got potentially one of the greatest Yes albums of all time. But I think as it is, there's a little too much bloat for me, but great stuff all throughout. Number 12, I'm going to go with The Ancient, which is basically the third epic from here. Again, really cool. Some nice stuff from Wakeman going on, although at times some of the choices of sounds are a little odd. I think Howe is great on the whole album. John sounds great on the album. Again, it's a little odd. It's a little dense, but it's still pretty cool. The Ancient, number 12. Number 11, I'm going to go with Endless Dream from Talk. So this is the last album of the Trevor Rabin era, kind of centered around that whole union thing, right? This is pretty cool. This is from 1994. So again, it's more modern sounding, yes, but it almost makes you wish like we got more of this epic storytelling from the Trevor Rabin lineup of the band, because I think it's actually really, really good. I mean, the opening barrage is like really, really cool. Lots of killer playing from everybody involved. Alan White sounds great. Trevor's a great guitar player. You got cool keyboards on here. John sounds awesome. Trevor sings great as well. I love having the two-pronged vocal attack with the two of them. I think it's a really, really good track. And like I said, it was just kind of disappointing when they released this album and we got that cool big epic that everybody really liked, and then this lineup of the band basically just kind of called it a day. So what are you going to do, right? That's number 11, Endless Dream. Number 10, I'm going to go with Ritual from Tales of Topographic Ocean. Probably the most celebrated of all of the tracks on here. That seems to be the one that's been played live the most. I think it's pretty good, pretty damn good. It's not my favorite on here, but it's pretty close to it. Great guitars from Mr. Howe on here. My favorite, and number 9, is The Revealing Science of God, which is the opening track on here. Again, it's just got some really cool, I love White's drumming is so good on here. Really just interesting things that Wakeman is doing, and of course Howe is all over the place on here as well. Nice little, there's some passages on here that I think are truly brilliant. But again, as a whole with this whole album, I think there's parts that are brilliant, and then there's other parts that just to me don't make a lot of sense. But some people think this is one of the greatest albums of all time. I get it, right? It's not quite there for me personally, but there's a lot of great stuff on here for sure. All right, number 8. I'm going to go to we had the 2 live albums, Key Studio and Key Studio 2, right? Of course, live albums with a couple studio tracks tacked onto each one of them, recorded by the classic lineup of the band. Well, if you consider Alan White part of the classic lineup or Bill Bruford, I guess it all depends on that. But, the long-standing lineup of the band with John Anderson, Alan White, Rick Wakeman, Chris Squire, and Steve Howe. But they did release the Key Studio, which contains all of the studio material from those 2 live albums. I'm going to go with That Is on here, which I think is pretty damn terrific. There's a really nice groove on all these tracks, actually. Squire and White just working so well together. I think Howe's guitar is kind of snaking in and around the arrangement Wonderful acoustic touches, some really nice electric guitars. I think Wakeman sounds wonderful as always, and John Anderson is absolutely soaring on this track. Song might be a tad too long, but who cares? It's this lineup of Yes, and I think we were so happy to be getting some new original music from them at this point in time. So very, very cool stuff. That is my number 8. Number 7, let's stick with the same album. I'm going to go with Mind Drive. Killer slow builder of a track. I think Squire's bass is nice and high in the mix, and he and Alan White once again just driving this whole song. That whole first half, just so good. Hal's lead guitar is really, really excellent on here. On this track, I'm not always down with some of the tones that Wakeman's using, but that's like a little quibble because I think what he's doing is great. It's just like, I think the latter period Rick Wakeman, I'm not always big on some of the patches that he uses. They just don't sound great. But I really dig this tune a lot. I love the chorus. Chorus is so catchy. And Anderson's vocals and Steve's acoustic guitar midway through this is just absolutely terrific. So good. And it's a shame we didn't get more from this lineup. Just kind of, we were so excited to get these songs, and then that was kind of it, right? What are you going to do? All right, number 6, I'm going to go with Machine Messiah from Drama. Funny enough how an album that got shit on by a lot of Yes fans back when it first got released in, was it 1979, 1980? Now we look back on it with a lot of fondness, right? Even though it's a weird one-off lineup of the band. You got the 2 guys from the Buggles, Trevor Horn and Jeff Down joining the band, joining up with Steve Howe, Alan White, and Chris Squire. Machine Messiah, though, busts out of the gate. Big, doomy chords from Howe, and just great keyboards from Downs on here. Horn's vocals sound absolutely fine. This is heavy, dramatic, serious Yes, and I absolutely love it. And I think Howe's guitar tones on this album are some of the best on any Yes album. Really, really good. Number 5, I'm going to go with Gates of Delirium from Relayer. And we got a little bit of glare there. There we go. From Relayer. Yeah, classic. I mean, this starts up this album. This is a great album. Again, another one-off lineup. We've got Patrick Moraz in on keyboards in place of Wakeman, who left. He would come back right after this album. Some killer stuff on this. Gates of Delirium, again, is kind of like put together and epic and just dramatic, kind of like Close to the Edge, takes you through all these twists and turns. Amazing guitar work from Steve Howe on this entire album. I'm a huge fan of his guitar work on this record, and I think obviously the whole Soon portion of it later in the track, where we get Steve on pedal steel and John's just absolutely soothing, soaring vocals. It's a classic, Yes. Gates of Delirium, so good. Number 4, I got to go with And You and I. It's a classic song from a classic album, another epic. Gorgeous guitars from Steve Howe, and amazing soundscapes from Rick Wakeman. You know, Mellotron and organ and Moog, and John's vocals are just adorable on this. It's amazing. And You and I is one of the classiest songs I think this band ever did. So good. Number 3. How about a little Heart of the Sunrise? One of their most complicated, complex, intricate, engaging songs of all time. This is just an absolute workout for the band. It's like, you know, how do you not love Heart of the Sunrise? So amazing. I mean, that just all the unison stuff that Squire and Howe are doing, and Wakeman and White, you know, and then John drops in, you know. It's like, it's just so good. Heart of the Sunrise. That's absolutely amazing. That's my number 3. Number 2, it's got to be Awaken from Going for the One. Awaken is probably like it's like one of those, they're epics that when they play it live, and they don't play it all the time. I've had the fortune of seeing them play it live many times. What a thrill. I remember the first time I saw them play Awaken, it was at Madison Square Garden, and I was just kind of like, holy cow, what a moment. And just so emotional. I mean, I love the keys in the song, and just everything about it is just grand and majestic the way an epic track should be, and it's never boring. Awaken, just so good. I love the guitar licks in it. It's magical, right? And you got John up front doing all his thing. It's just so good. It's absolutely so good. That's my number 2. Of course, you know what number 1 is, right? If you know me, you know the greatest progressive rock song off the greatest progressive rock album of all time, Close to the Edge, Down by the River. Yeah. Amazing how they could take all these different parts that they were jamming and recorded in the studio and put them all together so it all makes sense, it all flows bit by bit by bit. So amazing. It's complex, it's melodic, it's mysterious, it's powerful. The guitar work is so good, the bass, the wonderful keyboard tones from Wakeman. I mean, Wakeman is just like absolutely amazing on this album. It's great long form storytelling. It doesn't get much better than this. That was one of the great things about Yes, especially in their prime, is that they could write these long, complicated songs that, to many people it's just like there's just too much of it, but to people who appreciate this kind of music, it's perfect. And it flows, and it's basically a band telling a story across 10, 15, 20 minutes and keeping you invested and interested the entire way. That's good songwriting. So yeah, that's my order for the Yes Epics. So we've got Close to the Edge at number 1, Awaken number 2, Heart of the Sunrise number 3, And You and I number 4, number 5 is Gates of Delirium, 6 Machine Messiah, 7 Mind Drive, 8 That Is, 9 The Revealing Science of God, 10 Ritual, 11 Endless Dream, 12 The Ancient, 13 The Remembering, 14 Dream Time, 15 Fly From Here, 16 In the Presence Of, and number 17 Mirror to the Sky. And I will say, not a dud in all of them. Some are not quite as perfect as others, but all of them have greatness in them, even though I think, like I said, the upper half of the list are pretty much perfect all the way through. Others do have some faults, but there's still loads and loads of what makes Yes a great band in those. So for those of you who know and are familiar with all of these tracks, feel free to rank all 17 as you like them down in the comments below, or maybe you got your 5 favorite or your 10 favorite or whatever you want to do. Rank them down below, and we'll be back in another couple of weeks with another episode. Like I said, I got Genesis and Rush on the horizon for this. They'll probably be the next 2, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of other bands that we can do this with. Jethro Tull comes to mind, and yeah, lots of bands who do lots of long songs. I'm sure I'll do Zeppelin at some point too. So more to come in the weeks and months ahead here, ranking the epics. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, and our Cameo page. Thank you in advance for all your support there. We also have Sea of Tranquility membership options. That link is below down too. So thanks in advance again for all of you who do support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. And we'll see you soon here with more stuff. I am Pete Pardo. Hope you all had here in the States had a wonderful Thanksgiving yesterday. Enjoy your long weekend, and we'll see you soon here with more stuff. Don't forget, tomorrow is the UK Connection. Sunday, ranking the albums. I will be ranking the albums of the great Italian doom, psychedelic sludge bands, whatever you want to call them. They're unclassifiable. UFO Mammut, that's coming up tomorrow. So for all you fans of Italian doomy and extreme music, and very, very psychedelic, and very, very much space rock too, don't miss tomorrow's episode. I think you'll find a band you might be very, very interested in. So that's coming up tomorrow. Till then, I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you soon. Bye-bye.